what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy. We completely forgot about Aaron Anderson. What are the expectations for him coming into the season? Because yesterday we were talking about the receiving group, and we're like, okay, we're playing a game. If Jane Daniels is going to throw for 3,500 or 4,000 yards. By the way, Jane Daniels, second in Heisman odds right now, which is pretty wild. Really gives you an idea of the actual expectation that Daniels is operating under this year. Second in the country to Caleb Williams in Heisman odds, right? But if he's going to win the Heisman, he's got to increase the numbers. You're talking about on Scone T. So when you look, you lose Kayshon Boutte, who's your second leading receiver.
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, you got to make up those 600-700 yards, and you're going to have to add on top of that. Okay, you know Malik Neighbors is going to get his and probably get even more than he had last year. So it's like, okay, so then who's next?
Yeah, it's
Brian Thomas definitely feels like one.
It's Neighbors, Thomas, Lacey.
Okay, yeah, we mentioned Thomas, we mentioned Lacey. Is Aaron Anderson working in as a slot, as kind of the fourth guy? Like, I guess I just forgot. I mean, when you think about it, this is a guy who was number 2 in the state coming out, 35th in the country, goes to Alabama. And now, even though he returned home, just kind of when I saw his name, I was like, "Oh God!"
Right, you didn't see him out there in the spring, and so
okay, that would explain it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his role is going to be. Is it going to be in the slot at times? It's certainly going to be as a returner. That was a major issue for LSU last year. Hell, they were just looking for somebody that could field a punt last year and or a kickoff at times, and so he is going to be the main returner. You're going to see him back there on kickoffs and on punts. And so that can be a real tool for you considering how much of a deficiency it was a year ago. It makes you want to just close your eyes when you watch that tape of returners a year ago. So that's where his main role is going to be. And then he'll be fighting to be the fourth receiver. Now, the list of guys that are going to be fighting to be that fourth receiver,
it's long.
Good. I mean, like Chris Hilton Jr.
I know.
He's firmly going to be in that conversation. Shelton Sampson, who's a freshman, he'll be in that conversation. I mean, we could go down the list of guys that are going to have that opportunity. Cal Parker's going to have that opportunity, but the three. And if you're asking me, okay, give me who's going to lead in yards, I think it would go Neighbors, Lacey, Thomas, but touchdowns because of Brian Thomas, because of his frame in the red area, he is going. If he had double digit, almost wouldn't be surprised because he is such a weapon there. So you have 3 of the best in the country, right? That's not me just saying that. It's not T saying that. Anybody that I talk to, they're like, yeah, Ohio State's 1, but right under that is LSU as far as receiver rooms.
Wide receiver, you baby. It's actually, and you know what's kind of interesting about this year? This is a year in which I think if LSU wants to continue to get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that position, I feel like the receiver room has to come up big this year. I feel like there was a lot of this same talk going on last season, and it never quite came to fruition. And it's for a myriad of reasons. The offense is still learning one another. Jaden Daniels kind of had to learn through the season who he could trust, what the role was going to be, like the shape of the offense. You saw it evolve over the course of the year. Kayshon Boutte ends up not being nearly as effective as you would have thought he was going to be. I guess my point is, though, if you go, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, right? Like if you go a second year in a row with us hyping you up as one of the best receiving, one of the best position groups in the entire country, you have to put up really good numbers. You need a couple guys to touch 1,000 yards. How come nobody's talking about Washington? And maybe it's because they're not the most NFL talented, but I was looking up I don't know why.
Washington's got 2 All-American receivers.
Yeah. They got 2 guys coming back with over 75 catches, 1,000 yards, and 7 touchdowns. One had 9. They were sophomores last year, and their third leading receiver was a freshman.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about great receiver groups like the Huskies,
they're in
one
there
to watch as well.
Yeah, they're in that top tier as well.
The point is, I don't know if you're going to get 2,000 receivers, but you need more like what that Washington group looked like statistically by year's end.
No, it feels like you'll have one, obviously Neighbors, he'll be your top dog, and then Lacey and Thomas will be very similar to each other, and then it's okay what happens behind there. Is it going to be a freshman? You mentioned Sampson. Is it going to be Jaylen Brown? Like who's going to step up as a freshman? I like Chris Hilton a lot.
Yeah.
I think we've seen him make big plays before. We know what kind of top-end speed that he has. So you've got the bodies in there.
I was at that Zachary. He was a Zachary
Yep.
guy, right? That game-winning touchdown screen pass against Western Monroe. I was seated amongst the Western Monroe fans and watched their hearts break.
I was calling that game.
Yeah, as Chris fumbled snap and everything, and then next thing you know, it's an 80-yard touchdown.
He had like 7 plays in that game. There was one in the corner of an end zone where he just mossed whoever was trying to cover him. Yeah. I was like, okay, who is this, and when does LSU sign him?
So a lot of talent in that group, excited to see how that wide receiver room is going to shape out, and then more excited to see can Jaden Daniels become that consistent threat, that chunk threat, right? What's the word? Explosive. That's the word I'm looking for. Bottom line, LSU's offense must be more explosive this year, and a lot of that lies through the Daniels and wide receiver rooms connections.
Another name we have not mentioned because, hey, look, it's July. We're relearning some of these things. Landon Abieta, who they signed, obviously from Louisiana, from South Louisiana.
Yep.
They signed him. Didn't play a lot last year. Played in the bowl game, and then spring had a huge play, like an 80-yard touchdown. So that's another body that's in that receiver room that is on scholarship that you signed that we've seen, some moments from, although it was in a spring game. Very deep room, kind of like all the other positions that we're talking about. You know who the frontline guys are. Let's see who those secondary guys are to step up.
So exciting stuff, man. Every day is a day. I mean, we're a week and a half away from SEC Media Days. We're less than 60 days now away from LSU FSU in Orlando. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.